Hey guys, what's up? This is Bharat. You're watching iGyan, and today we're going to be reviewing Samsung's Galaxy M51. So let's quickly get started. So Samsung's M51 is supposedly their answer to the OnePlus Nord, which now starts this phone at 24,999, which is considerably lower than the starting price of the OnePlus Nord. But right off the bat, there are quite a lot of differences in the phone. They're, I think, targeted towards the same audience, but Samsung has tried to up on things that people want more. So this has a massive 7,000 mAh battery. This has a slightly larger display. And of course, it has Samsung's user interface that some people like and some people do not like. But let's start off with build quality and talk about the main differences between the two phones. And while we'll be comparing it to the Nord, we also want to talk about just the phone itself without any comparisons and tell you whether or not it's going to be worth your money. As far as design is concerned, it's a very Samsung design and it's very modern with their 2020 lineup of phones. The way the camera has been placed on the back is very similar to the Samsung Galaxy S20 Ultra or the Note 20 Ultra. The phone also has a very glossy back panel, which makes it look extremely premium as with most Samsung devices. But there is a downside. On the back, there is something that Samsung likes to call a Glastic back. It's actually a hybrid compound material, which is a mix of glass as well as plastic. And it gives it this glossy look and gives it more protection against shattering, which would happen if you had a full glass back and you dropped it on the glass back, the screen or the back glass would shatter. But in this case, it won't shatter. But the downside of that is that it'll be full of scratches because this, just like any other plastic surface, scratches quite easily. So we've had the phone for less than a week and we can see that it's already full of scratches. And that's something that is definitely a downside of having the Glastic back. Also, unlike Samsung, there is also no IP rating on this device. Samsung could have easily provided some sort of water resistance or water splash protection. No. But there is none provided. And Samsung has given IP rating in this price bracket in the past, so they could have easily done it here as well. Most of what Samsung does is in-house, and they can easily manage certain things, and IP rating is something they can manage, but they didn't do that for the Samsung Galaxy M51, and I think it's a missed opportunity because a lot of people in this price bracket buying this phone would have appreciated that. Another thing to note about the Samsung Galaxy M51 is that the front has Gorilla Glass 3. So in this price bracket, Gorilla Glass 3 is not really a big deal. And because it is anti-scratch or resistant to scratches, it also makes for a good option. The display itself is a Samsung display and it is a Super AMOLED display, which does have a full HD plus resolution. Now, because the display is much larger, it obviously gives you a really nice look, and it is amazing for watching content if you're watching videos or playing games or watching just anything on the internet, browsing the web, or just communicating with your friends or even doing video calls. The display is absolutely fantastic for that. What's also good is Samsung gives you a lot of display options. You have the adaptive display, and then you also have the ability to modify the color of the display. So if you want a slightly more blue tone or a slightly more warmer tone, you can do that from the settings panel. What's not great is that if you place it right next to the OnePlus Nord, you'll see that the white balance on the display is not the greatest. Even in the center where it's supposed to be as white as possible, it still has a yellow tint. And despite the fact that most likely the display on the OnePlus Nord has also been supplied by Samsung, this one does not have a 90 Hz refresh rate. Now let's talk about performance. As far as the processor is concerned, it's the 730G and it's considerably lesser powerful than the 765G, even though both of them are relatively new chipsets. If you're looking for more performance, the OnePlus Nord will definitely offer that out of the box, but Samsung does have certain tricks up its sleeve, and it does want to balance that out with the 7,000 mAh battery. So you'll be picking and choosing your favorite feature. Whether you want a larger display and a larger battery, you would pick the Samsung Galaxy M51. But if you want a more refresh rate display, and if you want a slightly more powerful device, you would pick the OnePlus Nord when it comes to that kind of comparison. That being said, the 730G is no slouch. It's a pretty impressive chipset and it will handle most of all your tasks without any problem. If you're planning on gaming as well, you can do that without any issues on this device. The chipset is also great for image processing, and you will see that when we get to the camera section. Apart from that, Samsung's user interface is a little bit clunky, and there are also applications that are preloaded, some of which you may not use and you cannot delete. Because of their partnership with Microsoft, they are able to install all of the Microsoft apps on the device for you, but you can't get rid of them if you don't want them. The good thing is that the Samsung Galaxy M51 does have features that people like voice recorders and FM radio, and those are inbuilt into the device and work natively without any problem. Now, as far as battery life is concerned, with the massive 7000 mAh battery, you will have tons of usage experience with this phone. Easily between 6 to 10 hours of screen on time, depending on your usage, is almost guaranteed from this device. If you're an average user, you'll find yourself not wanting to recharge the phone for almost 2.5 days, and that is what the battery will last like with a 7000 mAh battery inside the device. Now, despite that large battery or the large size of the phone, it doesn't feel clunky or extremely heavy. In fact, it weighs in only at 212 grams, which is not a lot considering most devices nowadays are upwards of 200 grams. Another advantage of this large battery is that you can use it as a power bank. If you use the included USB-C to USB-C cable, you can charge through the device any other phone with a USB-C port, and it can offer you reverse charging through the power port. Another advantage for the Samsung Galaxy M51 is that despite the fact that the flagship phones no longer have a headphone jack, the M51 continues to give you that, and which is more a rarity. So if you're one of those people who likes analog headphones or likes the 3.5mm plug, you will have that in this device. Now let's talk about the main thing, which is going to be cameras for a lot of people. At the back, there is a 64 megapixel primary camera, which is basically an 18 megapixel camera with quad pixel technology from Samsung. There's also a 12 megapixel wide angle camera, a 5 megapixel macro camera, and a depth sensor. For most of your usage, you will be using the 64 megapixel sensor, which is the best camera on the device and gives you the best colors. Funnily enough, Samsung has tuned the wide angle camera really well, and that can be used as far as color representation is concerned pretty well with conjunction to the main camera. Images are really good and they look sharp on the Super AMOLED display of the Samsung Galaxy device. But because the display in itself is slightly warmer, images are not in the true representation, and if you move them to another screen or to another device like a PC or a laptop, you will find that the colors are different from what you were looking at them on the screen. And if you upload them to social media services, people will not see the same color because on your device they will appear slightly warmer, but people will see a slightly cooler tone when they look at this image that you've clicked. As far as video is concerned, you do get 4K video on the front as well as the rear camera. The front is slightly confusing, we'll talk about that in just a second, but the rear camera gives you 4K video at only 30 frames per second, and also they do have super steady video shooting capabilities, which is their inbuilt image stabilization. But the minute you turn it on, it downscales the video to 1080p, and you can only run the super steady on 1080p and not on 4K. Again, it's a missed opportunity. 4K 60 is becoming relatively common nowadays, and it's something that Samsung could have enabled on the device. They didn't. And also the fact that they don't have super steady for 4K is also slight bit of advantage lost. They do have the megapixel range with the 18 megapixel primary sensor, which is a quad pixel 64 megapixel sensor. So they do have the megapixel range to capture a larger screen and then stabilize it, but Samsung did not do that in their software, and hence it goes down to the 1080p and it doesn't give you the kind of video that you would expect. The front camera is an 8 megapixel quad pixel sensor, 32 megapixel camera, which means that primarily there are 8 megapixels, but because of the quad pixel technology, you get a 32 megapixel sensor on the front. Now this allows you to get 4K video, but 4K resolution in itself is more than 8 megapixels as far as the sensor size is concerned. So there is some sort of upscaling to deliver 4K video on the front, which is the funny business I was talking about. But the front camera is really good, and Samsung's live focus works really well despite there being a single camera, whereas the OnePlus Nord has dual cameras on the front. I do find the fact that a depth sensor on the back is not needed, and also the macro camera with a 5 megapixel resolution on the back is not needed. And Samsung could have easily just given two main cameras, an ultra wide and a primary camera, and a front camera with possibly a 12 megapixel resolution instead of the 32 megapixel marketing hype. Other cool things about the Samsung Galaxy M51 are the fact that you can add a micro SD card, and it has a tray which allows you to pop in two SIM cards and a micro SD card. There is no carrier aggregation, so you can't use both your SIMs simultaneously. But again, that's a missed opportunity, and a lot of people in this price bracket would have liked that. I was speaking to someone from Samsung and they said that this is something they could possibly turn on and may come on the final devices. but it's not available on our phone. The fingerprint sensor on the right of the phone is a convenient location, especially for people who are right-handed, because your thumb is mostly on the right of the phone when you're holding the device. If you're also holding the phone from your left hand, you can use your index finger. This is a much more novel idea, and it's much better than the fingerprint sensor on the back or on the front, because it is much more accurate and faster than display-based fingerprint sensors. And it is always available even if you have the phone on the desk, which would not be the case with the fingerprint sensor on the back of the device. Overall, the Samsung Galaxy M51 is a good option, but it seems to be slightly overpriced for what it's offering. Also, they're playing a lot on the marketing hype of the 7000 mAh battery and multiple cameras. They could have improved the camera performance by simply giving better sensors and reducing the number of sensors. And they can probably offer this phone with slightly better features, maybe a full glass back, maybe some sort of IP certification, to truly make it a Samsung device. I think that missing out on some of those things makes Samsung look a little lazy compared to some of its competitors who are aggressively pricing their phones. And if Samsung really wants this market to appreciate Samsung products again, they need to work harder in delivering products that are very iconic with Samsung. IP rating for one and better build quality for one are something that are pretty synonymous with Samsung devices, but unfortunately the M51 misses out on both of them. Also, displays are Samsung's forte. In fact, they manufacture most amount of OLED displays for most devices in the world, but they didn't match the color, or they didn't make the color accurate on their own phone, which is a little bit of a letdown. You can't even get the pure white when you try to adjust the color balance of the display from the settings panel. But apart from that, everything that I mentioned as far as the negatives, if you don't get bothered by those, then it's a pretty good phone, and it's a reliable phone from a reliable company. Also, for those who don't like products from China, this is not from China, this is from a Korean brand, and it's primarily manufactured in India, apart from sourcing most of the parts from overseas. So that's our review. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down, that's fine. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the bell notification icon. We've got some exciting stuff coming this week. You would want to be subscribed for that. My name is Bharat. I'll see you in the next one.